Every man has tried it. The good guy act. Always available, always affirming, always gentle. But eventually, she pulls back. She stops texting. She stops laughing. And one day she says, "You're amazing, but..." What happened? You gave her what she said she wanted: peace, stability, love. But here's what she didn't say: certainty kills attraction. In this video, we'll go deeper than you've ever gone. We'll dissect the hidden logic of female desire, why emotional chaos, distance, and even subtle fear trigger a level of obsession no compliment ever could. We'll go into the timelines, the triggers, the psychological wiring. You'll understand what women actually respond to and how to lead her into emotional gravity so strong she never forgets you, not with words, but with absence, with tension, with power. Let's begin. Why certainty backfires. Let's begin with what you think creates attraction: being nice, showing up, texting consistently, telling her how you feel, offering stability. These are noble things, but they're not what creates the pulse of desire. Why? Because female attraction is not built on comfort. It's built on polarity. When a man is too certain, too emotionally accessible, her subconscious goes quiet. No tension equals no emotional spike. Let's go deeper. Certainty looks like this. You text every morning, like clockwork. You never let more than a few minutes pass before replying. You explain your intentions too early. You cancel plans with friends just to see her. You preemptively apologize for imaginary offenses. In short, you treat her like she's the center of your world. And to her nervous system, that's a red flag. It says, "This man is already mine. There's nothing left to earn." What she craves is movement, emotional contrast, a story. Without that, she tunes out. Certainty, when given too soon, makes you emotionally predictable, and nothing kills attraction faster than being emotionally predictable. This is why so many good guys finish last, because they're trying to offer peace to a nervous system that doesn't feel alive in stillness. Let that sink in. The real equation of female desire. Write this on your wall. Distance plus tension plus emotional variability plus fear of loss equals obsession. This formula doesn't destroy intimacy, it awakens it. Here's how. 1. Distance creates space for imagination. She starts filling in gaps, replaying memories, wondering. 2. Tension injects energy. That buzzing uncertainty keeps her brain engaged. 3. Emotional variability mirrors the unpredictable nature of desire. Calm one day, intense the next. It mimics the rise and fall of early romance. 4. Fear of loss creates urgency. A realization that you could disappear elevates your perceived value instantly. You don't need to simulate these elements artificially. You just need to stop defaulting to certainty. When you stop needing to be constantly available, when you let her feel distance, she will come closer, emotionally, mentally, physically. Why? Because women fall in love with how a man makes her feel, and what makes her feel most alive is tension. Let's use an analogy. Ever read a book that was so gripping you couldn't put it down? Why? Because of the unanswered questions, because of the rising stakes, because you didn't know what would happen next. Now imagine reading a book where you're told the ending in the first chapter. That's what certainty feels like. You become emotionally flat, even if you're kind, even if you're successful, even if you're a good guy. Good intentions aren't enough. What she needs is an experience, a story, and every powerful story needs risk, reversal, and mystery. How emotional chaos creates obsession. Let's explore emotional chaos, what it is, and why it works. Chaos, in this context, doesn't mean fighting or abuse. It means emotional unpredictability. You're not always warm, you're not always available, you're not always easy to read. To her nervous system, this is addictive. Think of it this way. If she knows she'll always get a text in the morning, she stops checking her phone with anticipation. But if your pattern breaks, if she doesn't hear from you for a day or two, suddenly her attention returns. Her mind starts racing. Is he losing interest? Did I say something wrong? This isn't cruelty, it's the mind reacting to uncertainty. And uncertainty is the fuel of emotional intensity. Now, let's move to timeline of distance. When and how to pull away. Distance is not about ignoring her texts for a couple of hours. It's not about playing hard to get. It's about making space for her emotions to breathe so she can feel your absence and realize your value. But let's be clear, not all distance works. Timing matters. The emotional context matters even more. So when should you pull away? 1. When everything is going great. This is the most counterintuitive moment because most men want to double down when the connection feels strong. They want to see her more, text more, open up more. But that's exactly the moment when desire begins to plateau. Instead, when things feel magnetic, you insert distance. You break the rhythm. You could say, "We've had a great week. Let's take a few days to ourselves. I'm going offline for a while to focus on some projects. We'll catch up soon." This keeps emotional tension alive. It makes her wonder, what's he doing? Why is he so centered? Doesn't he miss me? And that's exactly the loop that stirs desire. 2. When she starts pulling away. This is crucial. Most men panic here. They send long texts, ask what's wrong, try to fix things. Wrong move. If she's pulling back, she's testing. She wants to see if you crumble or if you stay rooted in your own frame. Your job is simple. Mirror her distance. If she goes quiet for a day, you go quiet for 2. If she cancels a date, you don't reschedule right away. You move your attention elsewhere. She'll either lean back in or disappear completely. Either way, you win. How long should the distance be? Here's a basic timeline to start with. 72 hours, 3 days, just enough to spark curiosity and emotional activation. 5 to 7 days. This is where her emotions begin to intensify. She starts missing you. 10 to 14 days, only for women you've had deep emotional bonds with. At this point, she will begin to question everything. She will fantasize, panic, or chase. Important, this timeline isn't rigid. It depends on how strong your bond was to begin with. But the rule is this: the stronger the emotional connection, the deeper the effect of absence. Pulling away isn't about punishment, it's about emotional oxygen. Controlled chaos, how to be unpredictable without being toxic. Emotional chaos sounds dangerous, and if misused, it is. But we're not here to play games. We're here to become emotionally magnetic without being manipulative. So what is controlled chaos? It's the art of emotional unpredictability, anchored in clarity. It means she can't always predict your next move, but she can always trust your core. She doesn't know when you'll text next, whether the next date will be intense or relaxed, how deep the next conversation will go, but she does know you're grounded, you have standards, you don't react emotionally, you don't chase. This contrast is electric. She feels safe enough, but not fully certain. She feels close, but not fully in control. She senses your presence, but never gets to own it. And that's what keeps her obsessed. Let's break this down into 4 tactical behaviors you can use to create controlled chaos. 1. Vary your availability. Don't always respond immediately. Sometimes wait 10 minutes, sometimes 2 hours, sometimes a day. If you always reply in 2 seconds, she'll feel entitled to your attention. If you sometimes disappear, she'll start watching her phone. 2. Be unpredictable with your vibe. Some days be warm. Other days, be calm and focused on your goals. She should never feel like she has full access to your emotional range. This doesn't mean mood swings, it means emotional richness. 3. Interrupt patterns. If you always meet on Saturdays, switch to Thursday. If you always take her to dinner, take her for a walk instead. If you always compliment her, tease her gently instead. You're not just her boyfriend, you're the plot twist. 4. Hold back information. Don't tell her every detail about your life or your schedule. Let her guess a little. This doesn't mean lying, it means keeping some of your internal world private. Women don't fall for men who overshare, they fall for men who leave room for imagination. Remember, controlled chaos is not about causing harm, it's about keeping mystery alive in a world that's obsessed with instant clarity. Every piece of chaos you introduce must come from strength, not from insecurity, not to punish her, but to create emotional texture. Let's now talk about the deepest layer of this dynamic. The man who can live without her is the man she cannot forget. Why? Because most men are terrified to lose her, terrified she'll move on, terrified she'll sleep with someone else. This fear leaks through every interaction. You text too much, you over-validate, you try to prove your worth, you chase closeness. But the man who has fully internalized detachment doesn't play that game. He enjoys her company, he values her presence, but he's not addicted. If she pulls away, he lets her. If she disrespects him, he leaves. If she flirts with chaos, he disappears into his mission. And because of this, she feels something she's never felt before: respect. Not because you demanded it, but because your energy said, "I choose you, but I don't need you." That energy is pure masculine gravity. Now, it's time for practical challenge: how to train yourself to stop giving certainty. Let's take all this from theory into practice. How do you train yourself to become the kind of man who naturally radiates tension, mystery, and power without falling into manipulation or game playing? You do it through behavioral reconditioning. This is your 7-day certainty detox challenge. Do this and watch your mindset and her behavior shift drastically. Day 1, audit your clinginess. Start with radical self-awareness. Track how many times you check your phone waiting for her reply, send unnecessary texts just to get a response, feel anxious when she hasn't contacted you. Write it down, count it. Awareness is the first kill shot to neediness. Day 2, delay your response. Pick one person you always reply to instantly. Maybe it's her. Now, for the next 24 hours, delay every response by at least 1 hour. Feel the tension? Good. You're training your nervous system to stop chasing certainty. Day 3, skip the compliment. Every time you feel the urge to compliment her, don't. Instead, ask a deeper question or say nothing. Mystery is often felt in what you don't say. Day 4, disappear for a day. No contact, no social media updates, no stories, no scene zoning, nothing. Let her feel your absence. Let the silence speak. If she notices, you win. If she doesn't, you still win, because now you see the truth. Day 5, focus on your mission. Dedicate today fully to something you've neglected: your body, your business, your goals, your solitude. Make this day about you. When your life is full, you stop broadcasting emotional hunger. And trust me, she feels that difference. Day 6, withhold validation. Today, no good morning texts, no heart emojis, no just checking in. Instead, give space. Let her wonder. Let her initiate. Day 7, flip the dynamic. Today, do something bold. Cancel a date and reschedule on your terms. Say no to a request if it doesn't serve your mission. Say something that expresses your standard without apology. Today, you reclaim leadership of the dynamic, because the man who can walk away at any time is the one she never wants to lose. Final reflection: why this works and what's next. You made it this far. You've learned that certainty is not the language of attraction. It's the lullaby that puts desire to sleep. You've learned that your emotional unpredictability isn't toxic if it comes from grounded strength, that the man who disappears sometimes is the one she can't forget, that the more you lead with absence, with tension, with self-respect, the more you awaken something ancient in her, the thrill of pursuit. So now you have a choice. You can go back to the comfort of certainty, or you can step into the realm of polarity, leadership, tension, and mystique, where every interaction is a story, not a transaction, where every day you build gravity that pulls her in, not through words, but through who you are when you're silent. Because at the end of the day, masculine energy is not loud. It's calm, grounded, unpredictable, unbothered, and unforgettable.